I'm Nolan the Ninja, and today what I'm going to be training is stances. And the cool thing about stances is they aren't like punches or strikes or kicks or blocks. They're not like any of that because you can't drill them. I mean, you can, but not very well. I mean, that isn't as good as this. Right, because you aren't practicing proper technique. Because, I mean, hey, you're just doing it for a split second. And that's not getting you better. In fact, it might get you worse because you're reinforcing bad habits. But, so, with stances, what you want to do is just get in the correct position. So, like, get your foot here, put your foot here. Hey, let's say we're doing a front stance, and you want all 10 of your toes to be facing forward. You want it to be a pretty long stance. Also a pretty deep stance like this. And your weight distribution, that means like how much weight is on your front leg versus your back leg. So on your back leg, I'd say it's about like 20% of your weight is on your back leg. And then like 80% of your weight is on your front leg. And then you also want it to be a pretty wide stance as well. Not super wide. Like, it doesn't have to be super wide, like the splits. It can just be a bit wider than shoulder length. So, like this. So then all 10 of your toes can face forward. Because if you're too narrow, like you're on a tightrope, I mean, I can do this because of practice, but no, I mean, comfortably you do this. If you do it wide enough, comfortably you would do this. And then just keep holding that stance. And you want to do it to where it's not like, of course, you don't turn your foot sideways or try to keep your foot, but you lift it up like this. Speaking of lifting it up like that, you do that exact thing in rear stance. Now, the rear stance is a neat one because I say it's like a back stance, but you kind of squish it in there, just cram it in, you know. It's a bit more narrow than a back stance, but it's the same. It's the same foot position. So here's a back stance, right? The foot position is kind of like in an L shape. This leg is going this way, this leg is going this way, but it's like this. So you just kind of squish it in, as I like to say. And the cool thing about these stances is they all have their own foot position, their own weight distribution, all that cool stuff. And the weight distribution for this is, it's mostly on your back leg. I'd say same with the back stance, but not as much. I'd say it's pretty centered, so like 55% on your back leg, 45% on your front leg. And then you got middle stance. And middle stance is quite the workout to do. Just saying. Okay, that's a bit too wide. You don't want to be doing the splits with this, because that's just too much, right? You want it, like 2 times as wide as shoulders. So about like that. And you also want it to be a pretty deep stance, so like that. And man, is this hard to hold, especially for long periods of time. So the weight distribution is centered. Okay, all 10 toes are facing forward. That's the foot position. It's also a pretty deep stance, one of the deepest stances you'll do. And you also don't want it to be like a squat either. It's just kind of like that. And then that stance, oh man, that hurt. So the thing about those stances is that you want to hold them for long periods of time. And then the next day you can hold that stance and on the other side. And all that stuff to make your stance better. And if you feel discouraged, like, oh man, I'm not getting anywhere, but my legs hurt so much, then what you want to do is just think about your goals. Think about, like, why am I doing this? Think about, I'm improving my stances. So let's say your goal is getting to your next rank. So I can pass my midterms and my testing to reach my next rank. So I hope this helps, and I can't wait to see you soon.